Okay, let's unpack this. If you're like most people, you probably think your financial reality is mostly defined by, the economy, your job, maybe your budget.
Right, the external stuff.
Exactly. But what if all those external forces were actually just responding?
Hmm.
Responding to a kind of hidden code you've written yourself, deep inside your mind.
Like a mental framework?
Yeah, these
Yeah.
frameworks that dictate what you believe you're allowed to have, what you think you deserve, and really where you set your own limits.
In that internal reality, that's precisely what our source material today is all about rewriting. This isn't your typical investment guide.
No.
It's more like a pure script, a script of really intense self-declaration, just a relentless stream of I am statements.
Yeah.
It's basically a blueprint for building what people often call the abundance mindset.
So our mission in this deep dive is to take this really concentrated self-scripting and see if we can map it out, make it into a kind of functional architecture for, well, becoming a financial magnet, as the source suggests.
Yeah, and we've sort of distilled it down into three core pillars, haven't we?
We have, first, there's that essential internal shift, the move towards really feeling worthy.
Ambitional.
Second, how you align action with this idea of effortless flow, which sounds tricky.
It does. We'll get into that.
And finally, how you connect the wealth that comes from all this to a bigger picture purpose and legacy.
And what's fascinating right off the bat is how this blueprint just bypasses the external situation. It goes straight for identity.
Yeah.
The core argument seems to be you don't get wealthy by just doing more stuff. You get wealthy by fundamentally changing who you believe you are.
It's like if you don't truly believe
Yeah.
deep down that you're worthy of, say, $10 million,
Right.
then no amount of hustle is going to let you actually keep it if it does show up.
Precisely. Which brings us right to that foundation, that first pillar you mentioned, the architecture of worthiness.
And this script, it's almost aggressive about it. It just hammers home worthiness again and again. It's like it's giving you permission, psychological permission you might never have given yourself. You see these phrases like, I am deserving of all the financial abundance that comes my way, and really specific things too, like, I am worthy of living a life of luxury and comfort.
It treats wealth less like luck and more like a natural outcome.
Yeah, a natural consequence of your internal state.
And this is where that big psychological shift is supposed to happen. The script seems to view attracting wealth as a process of dissolving your own internal resistance.
Dissolving resistance.
Think of it less like turning on a tap and more like removing a huge dam, a
Yeah.
dam you didn't even know you built inside yourself.
A dam made of.
Right.
What's the dam made of?
Well, we could call it scarcity residue.
Scarcity residue. Okay, that's a powerful image. What does that residue actually look like? In practical day-to-day life before this script tries to clean it up.
Oh, it looks like chronic worry. Worrying about bills that haven't even shown up yet. It looks like feeling unable to spend money on things that would genuinely improve your life, even when you can technically afford them.
Right, that feeling of guilt.
Exactly. And maybe the most damaging part, subconscious sabotage. If you've been sort of programmed for decades to believe that struggling financially is somehow noble or just normal.
Then when something good happens financially.
Yeah. When abundance finally appears, maybe you land a big client or get an unexpected windfall. This deep, unresolved shame or guilt flares up.
And you push it away somehow.
Yeah.
Without even realizing it. Maybe through bad decisions or just frittering it away.
That's exactly the idea. And the script tackles this head on. It says you have to declare that all resistance in me to receive more wealth has dissolved in total grace.
Wow, in total grace.
Yeah. And you have to actively work to release shame, fear, or guilt around having money. It's about fundamentally shifting your whole relationship with money
From fear and judgment.
to a state where your money consciousness is always increasing and keeping me surrounded by money. The idea is you need to feel safe with wealth. Safe having it, safe managing it, before it'll flow consistently. And maybe more importantly, before it'll actually stay.
Okay, so those I am statements.
Mm-hmm.
They're less about demanding cash from the universe.
Right.
And more about giving yourself internal permission, like internal clearance to receive it. You're basically making peace with the idea of being wealthy first.
You got it. Making peace is a great way to put it.
Okay, so if internal worthiness is the psychological bedrock, the foundation, then the next step has to be putting that belief into action, right? Operationalizing it.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings us to that second pillar, the one that seems, a bit contradictory on the surface. Aligning flow and action. Because this is where a skeptical listener might pause and think, hold on, this sounds a bit like wishful thinking. Where's the actual work?
And that's a really important question, the effort question, because the script absolutely insists wealth and money come to me easily and effortlessly.
Right. Easy and effortless.
But then, almost in the next breath, it demands that you become highly skilled, highly responsible. It says things like, I am capable of managing and growing my wealth, and I always make smart financial decisions. That sounds like work.
It sounds like a lot of work. Mastery, even. So that's the tension, isn't it? How do you square that circle? The promise of total ease versus the demand for continuous learning and smart decision-making.
Well, if we connect it back to the bigger picture, the ease being described here isn't necessarily the absence of effort.
Okay.
It might be better understood as the absence of friction or struggle. When your internal beliefs, that's pillar one, the worthiness piece, are perfectly aligned with your external actions, the struggle just dissipates.
Ah, okay. So the effort is still there.
Oh, yeah. The effort is absolutely still required. You still have to, build the business or save the money or learn the new skills. But it feels different. It feels like inspired action, maybe, rather than that feeling of grinding uphill struggle. You're working with the current instead of fighting against it.
So the effortless flow isn't a magic trick. It's more like the result or the reward for doing that internal work, first dissolving the resistance and then dedicating yourself to actually getting good at stuff.
Exactly. It's the feeling of being highly aligned.
Right, high alignment.
And this blueprint definitely insists on proficiency. It really promotes an entrepreneurial mindset, doesn't it?
It does. It says you have to declare, I am continuously expanding my financial knowledge and skills. That's a serious commitment to lifelong learning about money.
Absolutely. And the flow, the money coming in, it seems directly tied to the value you're creating. We see statements like, I am a successful and wealthy entrepreneur, and the core idea that I enjoy creating value and being rewarded for it.
So you're not just sitting back waiting for checks to land in your lap.
Not at all. You are positioned as the source of profitable creation. You're actively building things, offering services, solving problems.
And the script even gets specific about how you structure that creation, right?
Yeah.
It mentions attracting money from multiple sources every day.
Yes. And being capable of creating multiple streams of income. That's not just, diversifying your 401k.
No, it sounds much more active, like building interlocking systems that generate value.
Precisely. It's like the mindset of an architect designing a building for resilience. You're designing financial systems, income streams that perpetually increase your flow, making sure you're not totally dependent on just one thing.
You're taking control of my financial destiny, as the script says, by proactively building these systems that support the worthiness you established in Pillar 1.
Exactly. And the effort involved in that kind of building, because it's aligned with your core belief of worthiness and purpose, actually becomes enjoyable, or at least meaningful.
Okay, that alignment piece makes sense. So if worthiness is the foundation and aligned action is the operational process, the final pillar must be about the result, the output. What do you actually do with the wealth?
Right.
Let's explore that. Prosperity, purpose, and legacy. Because the vision painted here is, well, it's pretty grand. It's not just about being financially stable. It talks about a life filled with elegance and comfort.
Yeah, the language definitely ramps up. It uses words like luxury, elegance, sophistication, even opulence.
Which some people might hear that and think it sounds a bit superficial, maybe.
Possibly. But the source seems to argue that embracing this kind of opulence serves a really deep psychological function.
Okay, how so?
It reinforces that deep-seated belief we talked about, that you are worthy of the absolute best. By aiming for and accepting luxury, you're demanding that your external physical reality matches the highest internal standard you've set for yourself. It closes the loop.
So conscious wealth, in this view, isn't just about piling up money. It's about integration. It sounds like the source almost elevates money from just being a tool to being, a spiritual ally.
That's a great way to put it, a spiritual ally. It insists that this financial expansion has to directly support your soul's mission.
Okay, soul's mission, big words. How does the script define the responsibility that comes with that?
It seems to define it mainly through service and stewardship. The idea is you're acquiring significant resources, not just to hoard them, but because you are capable of being a steward of wealth for the highest good.
A steward, I like that.
And the growth has to align with integrity. There's a line, I create wealth by serving others with my gifts. So the script is really pushing you to ensure your wealth generation is a reflection of positive energy and real value you're putting out into the world. It cements authenticity.
Okay, but managing that kind of significant flow while trying to stay spiritually aligned and serve others. That sounds like it requires a practical tool, a mechanism to keep it all balanced. Does the script offer one?
It does. It explicitly identifies gratitude as that mechanism.
Gratitude. Okay, but not just as a nice feeling?
No, not just a pleasant afterthought. It's positioned as a practical engine for the whole process. The blueprint literally says, gratitude is my gateway to abundance. And the more grateful I am, the more abundance flows to me. So gratitude seems to function as a kind of energetic feedback loop.
How does that work? Energetically.
Well, the idea is when you consciously acknowledge and appreciate the flow that's already happening, you reinforce the mental programming. You strengthen the belief that things are working in your favor.
Which then accelerates the cycle of belief, action, and receiving more.
Exactly. It keeps the whole system running smoothly, keeps it clean, and maybe helps prevent that old scarcity residue from creeping back in.
And the ultimate endpoint for this whole system, it looks beyond just your own lifetime, doesn't it? It talks about legacy.
Mm-hmm. That feels like the complete antidote to short-term fear-based thinking about money.
Yeah.
This isn't about just a quick win or getting rich quick. The script forces you into future-oriented thinking, like the statement, the choices I'm making today are creating a legacy of wealth and abundance for future generations. By thinking beyond your own life, it removes that sense of desperation or urgency from your day-to-day financial decisions. You start acting from a place of long-term vision, long-term abundance, which is fundamentally more stabilizing.
So pulling this all together, what does this really mean for us and for you listening? This deep dive seems to reveal a pretty radical integrated system, like a feedback loop.
Yeah, a loop.
Internal belief in your own worthiness creates the conditions for external alignment.
Yeah.
That alignment then directs proactive, skilled action. And that action generates the resources to fund a life of purpose, ease, and even opulence.
You have to fully embody the feeling of abundance in your mind, it seems, before you can reliably see it reflected in your bank account.
Yeah. And the really profound takeaway, for me at least, is that financial freedom, according to this intense self-scripting, it's not really defined by a specific number in your account.
No, it's more of an internal state, a state of security. It's about truly embodying that conviction. I am free of fear and filled with trust around money.
That's the goal.
That seems to be the ultimate goal. The peace that comes from knowing you are psychologically capable, that you're deserving, that you're constantly growing, and that you're in this perpetual aligned flow.
The entire script really feels like a bold claim of personal destiny, doesn't it? Financial freedom is my destiny and my truth.
It is bold.
So if we take seriously this idea that your internal dialogue is the actual blueprint for your external reality, then the question you have to ask yourself is, which specific parts of this really profound and honestly demanding architecture?
Demanding is right.
The devolving of guilt, maybe? The commitment to mastery? Or that mandate for selfless stewardship? Which parts are you, consciously or maybe unconsciously, resisting building within yourself? And perhaps more importantly, what's the true cost of that resistance?